Oh, congratulations, Larry. It was just wonderful to hear about this gift that you have just received from Mr. T. Denny Sanford. And thank you for talking with us about it today. The International Society for Stem Cell Research is obviously very excited to see such a significant recognition and endorsement of the stem cell research field. And such a gift really demonstrates that stem cell research is coming of age as a field and is something to be celebrated by researchers and institutions all around the world. So we would love to have you tell us more about this award,
Sure.
who
Yeah.
gave it and what it's for.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's quite a breathtaking moment here, I have to say. It was kept under wraps while we worked out the deal and the details with Denny, and obviously it is. I agree with you. Quite an endorsement, both of the field and of our local stem cell medical and scientific community. And Denny recognized that he's a risk taker and a visionary. He bet on the team of people we've put together, I think. And yes, it's an endorsement of the field and its promise. There are so many diseases that we cannot currently treat properly, in part because we don't understand them, and in part because we don't have the tools. And having his generous gift will help us build both the pipeline into the clinic as well as understand what happens when we do try to treat people, and so that we can learn how to move forward safely, ethically, and effectively. Sure. Yeah. Oh, well, okay. So it's structured as a gift over 10 years, and we intend to use that to build a sustainable clinical research and treatment arm of our local institutions using stem cells as the focus. And clearly, the very first step is to build that initial pipeline into the clinic, to bring in outstanding physicians and scientists to work together, along with regulatory people who know the nuts and bolts of how to do this, as well as to help us push on the FDA a little bit so that we can work with them to reset the bar for what is acceptable in early stage clinical trials in fatal disorders, which is where some of our early targets will be. If you ask patients with ALS what level of risk they're willing to tolerate in a clinical trial, it's much higher than the FDA is currently willing to allow, as I understand it. And I think we really do need to be conscious of what the patients need and want and work with them as full and equal partners, adequately informed about risks, protected from unwarranted risks. But we need to move aggressively. These people are dying within 2 to 4 years of diagnosis. And I hate to say it, but 1,000 more rat experiments is not necessarily going to tell me that much more about the human disease.
Well, it truly is about the patient, and certainly the ISSCR always keeps that in mind as well, Larry.
Absolutely. Yes.
And one of the things that we've been talking about when we talk about clinical translation is that this really is a field that is done by teams, and so
Yes.
you address that
Yes.
very issue. And as you know, the ISSCR takes pride in the fact that it really engages and facilitates bringing together researchers with other groups, just as you've spoken about. So, how have the various partners that you've been working with worked together, and what will their continued collaborations be like with you, and what might that have for the ISSCR to participate in?
Wow. Okay. So that's several questions all rolled into one. Let me take them in pieces.
Sure.
So I think to start with, San Diego is a very unusual scientific community. The degree of interaction, communication, and collaboration is second to none in the world, and I'll say that it's first. It's really an
Go
extraordinary
ahead.
place to work, and it's why I came here, and it's why I've stayed here. It's great. And the Sanford Consortium was one of the first steps in the stem cell field, where we have 5 institutions collaborating and partnering on a shared building that has researchers from multiple fields and multiple institutions working together with unique core facilities. And in some ways, that was the first step towards this Sanford Stem Cell Clinical Center, building on the existing community in San Diego. First step with the Sanford Consortium as a scientific and translational partnership, which is now up and running. and now the Sanford the Stem Cell Clinical Center is the next step. And really the idea is, although the hospital and the patients are based at UCSD in our health sciences institution, we want to build a funnel, in a sense, using the clinical center so that investigators from UCSD, along with investigators from the Salk, Scripps, Sanford Burnham, La Jolla Allergy, the Venter Institute, the 500 biotechs, wherever, can come and work with us on accelerating new therapies into patients using the pipeline we'll build into the clinic. And so, the broad vision is collaboration. It's pulling teams together, and it's building a funnel that will serve San Diego initially, but much more broadly in the future. We would like this to become a place where people with terrible diseases can participate in leading edge ethical clinical trials and eventually be treated, we hope, with successful therapies.
Well, certainly many of those institutions that you've just mentioned, the scientists who are leaders within the ISSCR come from those institutions and are working with us on several of our committees as well as the board. And so I really look forward to what all of you are able to do to enrich our conversations.
Sure. Well, so let me just note, I've really valued my association with ISSCR over the years, the interdisciplinary nature of the society and its international nature. I've learned a lot. So it's been instrumental in positioning me to know, in a sense, what to build or what to try to build, because I've had those interactions, and scientific societies can play those roles. And it's been a terrific value added of my participation in the society's affairs.
Well, Larry, it's been a joy having you as part of it.
Thank you. That's nice to say.
In closing, I suppose one of the questions that everybody's asking you, but I will ask also, is that every scientist probably wants to know how you get to meet a T. Denny Sanford and develop a relationship like this. And so maybe you can speak to that for a minute.
Well, I don't really know the answer to that. I mean, Mr. Sanford was brought to our community by Malin Burnham, who's one of the local community members who has helped over the years facilitate many interactions both within San Diego and beyond. I met Denny when he first made a donation to the Sanford Consortium, and we've been talking ever since. And, as our conversations evolved over time, my dean and vice chancellor, David Brenner, became involved in the conversations. And what evolved ultimately was Denny challenging us to come up with something that was unique, novel, and exciting that would have impact on patients. And so David and I and others worked together to build a vision like that. What we're building is more than just an operating room and some beds. I mean, it's a full-fledged program, including patient education about what stem cell treatments are proven to work, which ones aren't, how to deal with both correct and incorrect information that one finds on the web, how to recognize snake oil when you see it. We have a program that will be put in place to work with the FDA on how to set appropriate bars. And we'll probably invest in a bioethics program to help us understand how people form their opinions so that when we counsel people, we know what we're doing rather than just making it up as we go. And then obviously we'll have inpatient and outpatient and follow-up units as well. So it's a very broad vision that we put in front of Denny that would make near-term impact both medically and, if you will, sociologically in the lives of people who perhaps don't have a ready therapy available to them, but need accurate information about what to do. And of course, we look forward to working with the ISSCR on developing those activities and providing proper, accurate content to people who need it.
Well, thank you, Larry. And you really have been a leader within the ISSCR on those topics. And so, it is something that is incredibly important to us, as you know, and it really takes people like you doing that, and then it takes people like T. Denny Sanford to recognize it and to help support it. So thanks so much, Larry.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you next week in Washington, D.C. November 18th. We've got a workshop really that we're doing with the Institute of Medicines and the National Academy of Sciences and the ISSCR on this very topic of really unregulated stem cell therapies, and you've been instrumental in putting that together with us as well.
Yes, well, and I look forward to learning a lot more.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Larry. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Okay. Bye-bye.